my peaceful place, friends. Thank you for joining me today. I am going to be reading you a bedtime story or a fort story. I decided to build myself a little fort because I thought, why not? It's a little fun. I haven't made one since I was a kid, probably around your age. And it's kind of cozy in here. I got some stuffed animals and some pillows and a blanket. So I'm feeling cozy and ready for a story. I hope you can find a cozy place in your house, maybe your bed, if you're listening to this before bed, or maybe you built a fort or have just a cozy spot at home you can go to. All right, today I'm going to read Rosie Revere, Engineer. And this is a great book. I think it just has an awesome message, and I'm sure you guys have probably heard it before, and if you haven't, you're in for a treat. It's a good story. Are you ready? Let's get started. This is the story of Rosie Revere, who dreamed of becoming a great engineer. In Lila Greer's classroom at Blue River Creek, young Rosie sat shyly, not daring to speak. But when no one saw her, she peeked in the trash for treasures to add to her engineer's stash. And late at night, Rosie rolled up her sleeves and built in her hideaway under the eaves. Alone in her attic, the moon high above, dear Rosie made gadgets and gizmos she loved. And when she grew sleepy, she hid her machines far under the bed where they'd never be seen. That's a lot of stuff in one room, isn't it? I'm sure great things come from it. Let's see what she's working on. When Rosie was young, she had not been so shy. She worked with her hair swooping over one eye and made fine inventions for uncles and aunts, a hot dog dispenser, and helium pants. Look at those helium pants. Do you know what helium is? It's something that you put in balloons and it makes them float all by themselves. So the helium pants kind of look like balloon pants and it's making them float up. Kind of funny, isn't it? Funny invention, but pretty cool. The uncle she loved most was zookeeper Fred. She made him a hat to keep snakes off his head. From parts of a fan and some cheddar cheese spray, which everyone knows keeps the pythons away. And when it was finished, young Rosie was proud, but Fred slapped his knee and he chuckled out loud. He laughed till he wheezed and his eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who stood there, embarrassed, perplexed, and dismayed. She looked at the cheese hat and then looked away. "I love it," Fred hooted. "Oh, I truly do." But Rosie knew that couldn't be true. She stuck the cheese hat on the back of her shelf, and after that day, she kept her dreams to herself. And that's how it went until one autumn day her oldest relation showed up for a stay. Her great-great-aunt, Rose, was a true dynamo who worked building airplanes a long time ago. She told Rosie tales of things she had done and goals she had checked off her list one by one. She gave a sad smile and looked to the sky. The only thrill left on my list is to fly. But time never lingers as long as it seems. I'll chalk that one up to an old lady's dreams. That night, as Rosie laid wide-eyed in bed, a daring idea creeped into her head. She could build a gizmo to help her aunt fly. She looked at the cheese hat and said, "No, not I." But questions are tricky and some hold on tight, and this one kept Rosie awake through the night. So when dawn approached and red streaks lit the sky, young Rosie knew just how to make her aunt fly. She worked and she worked till the day was half gone, then hauled her cheese copter out onto the lawn to give her invention a test just to see the ridiculous flop it might turn out to be. Let's see if her invention worked. Strapped into the cockpit, she flipped on the switch. The Hello Cheese Copter sputtered and twitched. It floated a moment and whirled round and round, then froze for a heartbeat, and then crashed to the ground. Then Rosie heard laughter and turned round to see the old woman laughing and slapping her knee. She laughed till she wheezed and her eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who thought, "Oh no, never, not ever again will I try to build something to sputter or spin, or build with a lever, or build with a lever, a switch, or a gear, and never will I be a great engineer." She turned round to leave, but then great Aunt Rose grabbed hold of young Rosie and pulled her in close, and hugged her and kissed her and started to cry. "You did it! Hooray! It's the perfect first try. This great flop is over. It's time for the next." Young Rosie was baffled, embarrassed, perplexed. "I failed," said dear Rosie. "It's just made of trash. Didn't you see? The cheese copter crashed." "Yes," said her great aunt. "It crashed, that's true. But first, it did just what it needed to do. Before it crashed, Rosie, before that, it flew." "Your brilliant first flop was a raging success. Come on, let's get busy, and on to the next." She handed a notebook to Rosie Revere, who smiled at her aunt as it all became clear. Life might have its failures, but this was not it. The only true failure can come if you quit. They worked till the sun sneaked away to its bed. Aunt Rosie tied her headscarf around Rosie's head and sent her to sleep with a smile ear to ear, to dream the bold dreams of a great engineer. Oh, look at that on the seat. It says, "We can do it. We can do it." At Blue River Creek, all the kids in grade 2 build gizmos and gadgets and doohickeys too. With each perfect failure, they all stand and cheer, but none quite as proudly as Rosie Revere. The end. I love this book because it has, like I said, such a great message. That no matter what you do, even if it doesn't work out perfectly the way you thought it should the first time, does not mean you should ever give up. And I think that is so important for each person to remember as they try new things in life, or they try to invent something or create something, to keep trying even if it didn't work out the first time. Okay, and I'm sure you guys are spending lots of time creating things at home, and I'm sure they're turning into great successes. All right, well, thank you for joining me today for a little story time, bedtime story or fort story, or just a cozy little story to listen to. Okay, I can't wait to see you all again. Hope you have a good rest of your night or day. Bye.